Welcome to Grab Reload. I'm Anthony. Let's talk a little bit about Nvidia and where I see them going. Now that Computex has come and gone, Nvidia had a little teaser about Super out there on their Twitter and get that out. But I want to go through a little bit and shed a little light on Nvidia and where I think they are going right now, especially after some things that have happened in the last year. Yet we did have the cryptocurrency fallout and Nvidia having to try to restructure a little bit to get their financials back up to where they were at the cryptocurrency heights. And that sheds a little bit more light of where Nvidia really wants to focus its resources. And so I think that they really want to focus their resources on getting more into the data center. And yes, gaming is profitable, but unless gamers are still going to start shelling out for the $1,300 graphics cards as a norm, Nvidia does really want to have those enterprise customers that are willing to shell out the big bucks all the time. And so they did buy Mellanox this past year, or it's still in approval for 6.9 billion, and that's to get Mellanox's basically the InfiniBand stuff. It's some great network interconnects that are really fast if you don't know anything really about Mellanox. But the one thing right now is the last couple of big supercomputers have been using the new Cray slingshot. So I'm starting to wonder what exactly is going to be happening there. Maybe Nvidia might even bring that in-house once they get it and just make it proprietary for their stuff. That makes me a little concerning because I think more and more people are looking more towards open standards rather than closed standards, and because they're more flexible if you ever get into a situation where you have to move out of that proprietary network or proprietary system. So I think there's some things there that NVIDIA, I hope that they are more open, but based upon everything else NVIDIA has done with GameWorks, G-Sync and stuff like that, it is all NVIDIA all the time, and that's what NVIDIA is concerned about, is that only. Now, with that, you're looking at some of the HP high performance computing stuff, HPC, and NVIDIA right now, AMD is looking and getting quite a few wins in there. Intel is not going to shy away, and once Intel gets a GPU, they're going to want a whole entire system based upon Intel. So looking at where this is going, it's starting to leave NVIDIA out in the water. And yes, there's IBM. They could work with IBM. NVIDIA just doesn't seem to work well with other partners all the time. And that's what really is concerning, right? NVIDIA does have an ARM license, and NVIDIA could do some more stuff with ARM. We haven't seen much since the Tegra phase, so only time's going to tell to see where that's going to be headed to. But, is there a more deeper integration with IBM? Maybe even or is NVIDIA going to do something bigger with ARM? There's also RISC-V coming out, and yes, RISC-V is open, so I'm very closed off on, or very concerned in my own thing, that NVIDIA may not even consider it because it is in the open field already. With their ARM license, they can really kind of proprietize it, or make it proprietary on what they kind of design to optimize certain things into their stuff. RISC-V, they could probably do that and then just not put it back in, but that would be kind of frowned upon there. And then you'll see here is we'll jump into data center because that's also related to the HPC stuff. And then data center, NVIDIA wants AI, they want machine learning, they also want automotive, right? That's also in that thing, in that whole section of probably data center. I would consider automotive there as well. But data center for them has not been going in an upward trend, and either companies are getting those higher performance CPUs that now companies need to take advantage of before they even get there, or is it because AMD is now putting a little bit more pressure on them and Intel's waiting in the wings with some of their stuff, because Intel's GPU is going to be focused on data center more than it is, I think, even gaming, because there's a lot more money there. And we also have to consider FPGAs, field programmable gate arrays, as well as ASICs. And ASICs are basically specialized. I'm forgetting what the acronym stands for right off the top of my head here, but ASICs there are, and FPGAs can be way more specialized and can get things done a lot quicker if they can be specialized. So what are they going to do there to combat that? That's going to be, I think, some headwinds for NVIDIA that they're going to have to address. Now we get into, I think, some of the more fun stuff with that is gaming. that really is what's supporting Nvidia. Yeah, they make a lot of money from data centers. It's been on downward trend. So has gaming, but gaming still most of their revenue. And gaming, they want to take it to a new level and make it so that Intel and AMD have to do what they're doing, right? If Intel and AMD are in a unique position with basically APUs, that they can put a GPU and CPU together and make compute products just astounding, where they can be multi-purposed and still have visual graphics and hopefully at some point be good enough. Whereas, gaming wise, Nvidia wants RTX, and don't get me wrong, so do those other companies, but Nvidia wants it in a way where it can only be powered by a discrete graphics card. They're going to push RTX. They're going to be making sure that they're working with game companies, that they push this stuff so hard that the only cards possible to run them are going to be the high-end cards. And you kind of even see that with current RTX, right? They have a 2060 out that still, does okay, but they really want to sell that 2080, the 2080 Ti, probably a 2070 Ti, maybe that might be on the horizon. Stuff like that, 2070, they want that RTX stuff. They don't want people buying into the 1660. They want people up into that RTX line and forcing that forward. And they also don't want to drop the prices either. So it's going to be interesting to see how Nvidia kind of combats this. I bet you that they're, when Nvidia or when AMD releases stuff, when Intel releases stuff, they're going to do marketing tactics. They're going to go through and get stuff in a position so that you're thinking about Nvidia all the time, and there's going to be no way possible that you're going to want to get that Intel or AMD GPU. Nvidia wants you buying their high end. They want you to make sure that they're getting those profits, that profit margin, to support their R&D budget and to support stockholders, etc. So that's where I kind of think the gaming side is going, is that Nvidia's going to be pushing it hard. They're going to be looking for other ray tracing stuff, pushing ray tracing to be more powerful in games, global illumination, and everything else, like the rays of the light, like Battlefield, 5. They were going to push that to an extent where their cards are the only ones that can handle it. Now there's going to be some open APIs or opener, like using the Microsoft one, etc., that will also work. But Nvidia wants to do it so it just basically wrecks every other GPU to make their GPUs be the best. And I think that's where in gaming that Nvidia wants to be. And it's going to be based upon, that customized ray tracing hardware, etc. in there. And then there's also cloud gaming. And I'm actually surprised. Well, I'm kind of surprised about this, where Nvidia is not pushing it as hard. Now, Nvidia doesn't really have these servers to really support this, but if we're starting to look here, we got, cloud gaming with Google Stadia, and granted, I was thinking about doing a video on that. I may still will, but reaction's not great on it. But you got Google Stadia with the Radeon there. You have, there's some small cloud providers that use, Nvidia. Some use, or a lot use AMD too. Nvidia has their own gaming cloud. Then you have Microsoft coming in, and they're using Xbox hardware, which is based on AMD. Sony's going to be looking into it too. I wouldn't be surprised if that's also based on AMD graphics hardware, just because that's what they already have. And that should actually make Nvidia kind of concerned, because if everyone starts doing cloud gaming and like these tools are even built for Google Stadia to optimize on it, which is Radeon hardware, that can invite maybe leaving some of Nvidia out, where Nvidia is going to be even more concentrated to the desktop gamer. And we'll see how this all rolls out. But if AMD is able to get in there, powered by AMD and all this other stuff, basically making it, I grew up, it was Nvidia, the way the game was meant to be played, right? And so if AMD can now turn that around with all the cloud services and put it there where there's opportunity for more people, because not everyone's like me and wants to go buy a gaming desktop. So there's some, I'm going to go run right into this mindshare there that Nvidia has to be conscious of, because Nvidia does have mindshare right now. Nvidia's mindshare is just out of this world, right? If you were to compare certain cars like the 1650 and the 570, those two cars, like the AMD one is cheaper, or now it is, and then but people still go for the 1650 because it's got the Nvidia name. So yeah, there's that mind share, and if Nvidia can keep that mind share, they can fend off Intel and AMD just on mind share alone. They'll still be able to. They might take a little bit of hit, but being able to fend Nvidia or AMD and Intel off with Nvidia's mind share is something Nvidia is going to leverage, right? They do it every single time AMD or Intel try to get news out about their graphics line. They drop a little hint about Super in the video to see how everyone reacts, because you're going to be grabbing at that every word to try to see what Nvidia is going to do next. Now, I fully expect if, you know, AMD doesn't do much with Navi and it doesn't really compete well, Nvidia may back off a little bit on that super clause, delay it out a little bit from what they were going to do, and keep that mind share out of people guessing of what's there. Because Nvidia has that mind share, they can do that. So I've been kind of interweaving Intel and AMD throughout this thing, but I eventually think with this is that AMD and Intel want to basically squeeze Nvidia. Intel has not been very happy with Nvidia for very long. Intel's figuring out that they can be the whole stack of the computer. They can be the GPU, they can be the CPU, they can have one part, it can be more power efficient, you can have more controls over power, where power goes, depending upon what you're doing. And so, AMD's already done this, and now Intel started that with using an AMD GPU on the same chip. We saw that last year using their EMIB technology. So you already kind of saw the writing on the wall of where Intel wanted to go, and they wanted to squeeze out Nvidia. There's just bad blood there. Intel was paying them billions of dollars a year to get user or have patent stuff. So there's something there, and I think Intel is the big. AMD's been in the game, right? But I think Intel is the one that is the big question mark, right? Intel has a lot of cash. Now, they do have some debt from buying all these other companies, but they got a lot of cash to be able to flush out and just, market in a way and muscle in a way that they've never been able to do, that no one else has been able to do, right? They even got fined by the EU for stuff they did to AMD back in what was that, 15 years ago or so? 10, 15 years. So there's just things there that are just amazing, right? That Intel can do that. Hopefully with some of the stuff Intel's doing, I like competition, but Intel, let's do it, more fairly, I guess. But Intel will throw their muscle around when they can, right? They work with partners, they do other stuff, and they've been doing it for a long time, and they know the ins and outs. So that's where I think the squeeze is going to happen on Nvidia. Now, you also have ASICs and FPGAs, and I mentioned that in the data center, but this is one thing that Nvidia could actually look at doing, putting on their GPUs or specializing in some of their data center stuff or gaming stuff or wherever the aspect needs to be to speed up, let's say a certain game or whatever else. And they're probably doing this. The RTX stuff is probably more specialized hardware. I don't know how generic it is, but if it's pretty specific, that would be closer to your ASIC. And so if Nvidia is already doing this, they could actually make the GPU, they're already getting a huge GPU. So let's increase the size and put some more, technology on it. Let's put another ASIC, an FPGA, and just expand what the GPU can do so it stays more relevant, so more people are going to need it because they're going to need those different accelerators for different tasks they're doing. And let's be able to get it, NVIDIA talk to Windows and everything else, Linux, and get it all built in so that everyone can take advantage of it. That's another option NVIDIA has, and it's going to be interesting to see there. Now, Intel already has an FPGA company. Intel can do the exact same thing. AMD could do the exact same thing. I'm not counting them out, but this is just another way I think that NVIDIA could make their stuff even more unique and more people wanting, and keep that mind share high because of everything uniquely the GPU can do, right? Only right now, NVIDIA is the only one that can do ray tracing, right? Based upon the games that are out. So, however few they are. But then also, I think NVIDIA could do partnerships. However, I think they could do partnerships, but for some reason, it doesn't seem like NVIDIA likes them, right? There's still a rift between them and Apple someplace. I don't know who is on the wrong side. I have to look that up again. Between them and Intel, there's a rift. It just seems like NVIDIA is their own. That's why I think they're buying Mellanox, is because they wanted the Mellanox stuff. They didn't want to develop it, but they also didn't want to partnership with it. They wanted to make sure it was in-house so they controlled it. So that's some of my thoughts are. I think NVIDIA does have some headwinds. They have some great room to grow. and I don't see GPU prices actually going down right now from Nvidia unless AMD just comes and wipes the floor with them, or Intel in 2020. I think that they're going to want to keep their high margins, keep that profitability high, and make enough money while they can so that they can work on their data center side stuff and be able to move forward so they can get back into high performance compute and get back and making sure that they're winning contracts for those as well. So those are my thoughts on where I think Nvidia is going, but I really want to know what you guys think where Nvidia is going, what is coming up, right? I'd love to see these more powerful GPUs and stuff like that come out and actually get cheaper gaming cards, but I just don't see that anytime soon. What do you guys see? Leave that in the comments below, and I'll be sure to read them as well. I always love reading your comments. They're always great. And I do want to thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time to help support Gray Overload and helping this channel grow. I appreciate it. You guys are great on being able to spread these videos and just helping this channel. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.